All right, is Avatar Legends: The Blooming Lotus, episode 11? Yeah, 11. Zaofu, who wants to give the recap?
So we were marching into the fog of lost souls so
Valley of
that
the
we could
Forsaken.
Valley of the Forsaken, so that we could find and talk to what's the spirit's name? Well, my
Ko the
brain
Face
is
Stealer.
swished.
Oh,
Right.
Ko the Face Stealer.
Uh, and we had Iroh's lantern with us to light the way, in addition to all of our other lanterns, as Iroh stumbled home in the dark with no lantern.
Like a
Uh,
sucker.
right. Trusting that we would return his lantern someday. But we stumbled in through the this valley until we got to this ancient gnarled tree that had an opening in the base, a bit like a cave running under the tree. And we realized that Ko must be inside. So we went in and we spoke with Ko, who periodically, as we were having the conversation with him, would dart around and try to frighten us, but was really only successful with Gage. Most of the other people were a little more able to handle it. Luckily, though, we had our glass masks on, and they provided us with some protection. He then told us that, and I'm gonna blank on the names. What was the name of the spirit? Ankou? Is that right?
Ankou. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah. So that Ankou was at one point stuck in the Valley of the Forsaken or in the Fog of Lost Souls, one of them. And
Fog of the Lost Souls.
right, but he was busted out by members of the Red Lotus, presumably so that he could cause havoc. Although, still not clear what their ultimate plan is, other than to cause havoc. So he had previously been devoured by some human and he's still inside the human. So it's really this joint entity between the two of them. But it's Ankh who has all of this spiritual power and seems to be able to open these portals. He escapes with these members of the Red Lotus. Initially, Gage thought that he must be essentially leading the Red Lotus now as a result of this, but that's less clear. We were told that if we can kill Anku in the physical world, that will kill him once and for all. And after questioning that, we could also separate Anku from the guy who he is currently inhabiting, but that requires a spirit bender, probably a pretty powerful one. And the only one that we have immediate access to is one of the Red Lotus guys, although Ko suggested that he is a little less certain of his own ideology than the other ones, or at least than the mayor's daughter. And so it may be that he can be convinced to betray his Red Lotus people and actually try to separate out Anku and this human. At that point, we can try to kill Anku, and that will end the threat. Or we could try to find a way to get him back into the Fog of Lost Souls. But in order to do that, he'll have to be again housed inside some body. So we either have to drag the guy and Anku back and put him in the Fog of Lost Souls, or one of us will have to devour Anku, and then we go back and lose ourselves in the Fog of Lost Souls. Luckily, it was suggested that Ura can help us find the Fog of Lost Souls again if need be. Uh, but ultimately, right now we're searching for Anku. We were told that this spirit bender was in Zaofu, and that almost at like right at the end of the conversation, Ko said that there were new arrivals outside, and apparently a spirit portal from Zaofu, or we think from Zaofu, were open because the guy we were looking for stepped through it, along with the mayor's daughter and other members of the Red Lotus. So we sort of tried to hide and sneak around to get away and not confront them directly. Uh, Eventually, we did manage to get to a place of enough safety that we were able to travel through the spirit realm back to Iroh's glade, where we gave him back his lantern and informed him of what was going on. And then we made it back to the portal to Naupai. When we left there, we went to the mayor's house, where we met Jinora and Nualla again, and they used the radio to find that Zaofu is in fact under attack at the moment from dark spirits. So again, suggesting that portal probably connected to Zaofu. Do we either have the choice of flying to Zaofu on Tycho, or we could go back through the spirit portal into the spirit realm, transport ourselves back to this portal to Zaofu and go through that. Although if we take that route, we're probably going to have to fight the Red Lotus along the way. That was the last thing I think we did.
Yeah.
I don't think we actually decided which we were going to do.
You did not. No, it was getting late, and it was punted till it was deferred rather till to the session. That is. Let's see. Let me make sure that the main points were hit. Yeah, Yuka freed. So Yuka is the mayor of Republic City's daughter, not Mayor Bota of the of Naupai.
Right.
She was able to free Yoon from the Fog of Lost Souls. When Gage asked how, Ko said that she had help from the Red Lotus, from someone who wasn't lost and knew exactly who they were.
Oh, and there was some, I do remember, there was like some moment when Ko took on a face that was like an old man face, and it meant nothing to anybody except for Ura, who seemed to recognize the face.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know if that's going to come up.
It had gray hair. It was like it was like an older face. Had kind of a gray beard, kind of spiky along the side, like spiky mutton chops. And kind of gray eyebrows, and yeah, just kind of just like it looked like an older somebody who would be kind of had like a stern countenance, like somebody like who was in the military, and so like that face change was specifically like right in front of Ura. So it was like, you imagine like Ko is like this giant centipede thing that changes faces was, a couple feet from you, really looking for a reaction.
Right.
And thankfully Ura was able to compose himself, or keep himself composed, but...
Right. As that face would have... demanded.
Yeah. About the spirit bender, you asked who was it and why would they be reluctant to help? It's someone from the Northern Water Tribe. They turned to the Red Lotus looking for answers, but have become unsure of the answers they found.
Right. That was what I shorthanded as. He may not be as solid in his ideology as the others.
Yeah.
It's still not clear what we can offer him. If you abandon all your friends, you can do the right thing. Hope that
friends.
Hope that sways you.
Yeah. We could talk to that one. Do we have to go up there, or are they elsewhere? Do we know where that person is?
I think that person was back in the spirit realm when we left it. I think he was in that group.
Let's see. What else is...
Isn't the mayor's daughter, didn't we interact with her in the library?
You did.
Isn't that her?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't there for that session, but yes, those were like the same people that you were having like a weirdly rude conversation with in the library.
Yeah, a very passive-aggressive posturing.
Yeah.
The person he co-identified him as Atka, and that's the bald frosted guy. the guy who I think Ura got him a book of hot rods.
That wasn't me, but
so, somebody gave him a book of hot rods. It was something with lots of pictures.
Right.
Yeah, I think that covers everything that that Code talked about.
No, there was one other thing, that the reason why the spirits are going dark isn't just that Ankou is doing something to them. It's that the spirit portals he's opening up are not well tuned to the spirit realm, and it's like an irritation to the spirits around them, and that's what's causing them to manifest as dark spirits. So he suggested if we were able to retune these spirit portals, they could continue to be open without aggravating the spirits to come through and attack. So one point, Sachcha was going around looking for pieces to build a kind of tuner.
Yeah.
To see if we could maybe fix that.
Yeah. It wasn't clear at whether that was right before the radio broadcast, but there was something like where one of the only places where there is technology in this town is the mayor's radio.
Right.
So that.
But I don't think he didn't dismantle the radio.
No, it didn't. So he was like looking for things, but he hadn't. At least fully made the radio dysfunctional yet.
Right. But you know where you could get technology? Zaofu. So if we're heading there, you could probably find all the parts you might need.
Well, Sachcha would know exactly where he could find all of the parts that he could ever need. Just one thing. You about the timelines. So kind of like one of the decision points is that if you take Tycho, if everybody takes Tycho, Jinora's coming with you. Either way, she's going to go to Zaofu. If you take Tycho, it's going to be about 1.5 days to get there, flying as the bison flies. If you really push Tycho, you might be able to make it there faster. Like in a day.
Right. And then, so that's the one downside is Tycho's slower. I don't remember if I need to rest. I have 2 fatigue. I could rest, but...
I mean, presumably you could sleep on Tycho as well. Like,
right. So
everybody could.
You could rest on the way there. But if we went through the spirit portal, we could essentially be there kind of like right away.
Yeah.
Again, the downside there is that spirit portal that we think leads to Zaofu, might not lead to Zaofu. Who knows? Maybe we're just wrong about that. And then second, last time we saw it, it was surrounded by that lady and Atka and all the other Red Lotus people, so we might wind up having to fight our way through.
Might be able to get the Iceman's help. If he's there.
Maybe. I still haven't figured out what exactly to say to him to convince him to change sides.
We just got to figure out what his
principle.
Whatever his principle is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll push for it.
It's using the system.
I don't know how to use the system, but I know that's what we got to do.
Know that people have principles, and that's how you convince them to do stuff.
Hey, I got General Ira to help us a lot because of that.
So how do we figure out somebody's principles? I forget.
I don't remember how I learned it.
How do you do that? I want to say it's a... I want to say it's a balance move.
Is it call someone out?
Well, that you have to know their principle to call them out.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a move. There is a move that I'm blanking on what move it is, but there is a move where like they tell you their principle, or like you have to. And I know there's like a combat exchange technique, but there's one that's outside of combat. But we can cross that bridge when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are in. You are. This is kind of ish. This is as close as Midjourney could get to to an overgrown Naupai. But you guys are in the mayor's house. It is he's got that long table that currently is just it's just bare. He got his radio in the corner. You're there with Jinora and Nualla, and the mayor is down, making sure that his radio's okay. And Nualla like looks towards Gage. We gotta go. We have to go help. We have to get to Zaofu as soon as possible.
Well, as soon as possible means we've got to go back into the spirit realm and fight our way past the Red Lotus people to get to their spirit portal, since we think that leads to Zaofu. I'm a little reluctant to leave Tycho behind again, but I can't really find a good argument to take the full day to get to Zaofu.
Is there no precedent for bringing one of these animals through?
It's just a question of size. The physical gate is smaller than the bison, and I have no idea if you can squeeze the bison through it.
You did notice, so you guys would know that there were spirits that were larger than the portal that did come out of it. They they kind of projected out of the beam, the portal beam, and into the physical world. But you have not tried or attempted the reverse.
But I guess exigent circumstances, it's probably worth a try.
Jinora says the spirit world, that's a danger. The spirit world is unpredictable. You might not make it through. Not just even the Red Lotus, but even finding your destination. It isn't certain. You could get lost. And then Zaofu would be even in bigger trouble.
I mean, it's possible, but we were pretty proficient at moving around the spirit world before, and we know exactly where we're going.
Well, even myself, who is quite acquainted with projecting through, still gets lost sometimes.
It is a risk.
It's a risk, but the alternative is we won't be there for a day, and that's assuming we push Tycho to his limit.
I mean,
so I suspect
ask your friend, see if he's up to it.
Yeah, I think it's probably a risk worth taking.
Well, can't let Nualla just get lost in the spirit world. I will come with you. If that's the path that you're gonna, if that's the most expedient path there. but we should be prepared.
Nothing we can't handle.
Well, I'm ready to go.
Who is coming with us?
Jinora.
And Nualla. So they are. Did I get the pictures?
Okay.
Now this is Nualla.
Can you fight? Because we may need to fight.
Oh, the kid.
And Jinora is also a child, but a little bit older, probably 12 or 13. At this point, and she has blue arrows tattooed on her head, like coming down. And her hands, and you would know that that symbolizes that an airbender is an airbending master. Like they're at like the top of their craft. So even though she's a child, she's not to be underestimated, at least when it comes to her bending prowess.
Okay. So
Be prepared to fight.
So
Technically, she would have been closer to Jijin's age. That picture's a little younger than I envisioned her.
Jijin's age?
Yeah, like
that's right.
Teenager, like late teens.
That's fair.
So we have one that's what, an airbender, and then
They're both airbenders.
Yeah.
oh, they're okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
One is a airbending master.
Yeah, Jinora would be more advanced in her training than Nualla would be. But yeah, Nualla's in her late teens.
Okay, I think I found my new ward for this session.
Well,
Whatever happened to Jijin? Did we lose one in the spirit world?
yeah, where is that kid? He was he was an alright fellow. Did he die? That says the mayor.
No. He's on a journey.
Well, I hope he makes it out of the other side. We're all on a journey. To some extent.
Don't I know it?
So, you, Sachcha, you're good with radios, right?
Yes, I am.
Are you good with other kinds of radio technology?
I probably could learn it.
So, sorry, I might have overheard, but it sounded like you had some sort of way to, calm this here spirit portal, so that dark spirits can stop keeping me up at night. Also, so the rest of the villagers can come back. Is that something you can do now?
I have a couple ideas that may work. I'm not sure. They'll have to be tested, though.
Yeah. I might appreciate having my village back. Like, Spirit Portal can stay, but be great to not have to worry about getting killed at night or taken off.
I assume this is the mayor who's talking to me.
It is, yeah.
Yes. Yes, Mayor. I do understand there are many eligible voters in this community that you would like to save.
You know, it's usually it's not just about the votes. It's about the people, and also partially the votes. But you know, with nobody around, there ain't no elections. So how am I going to keep being mayor if I? What do I do when my term's up? We mayor nothing. But look, anyway, if you got a way to solve my problem, I'd be eternally grateful. I would, heck, I'd even throw in the radio.
Well, that's the issue. Is we may need the radio.
Well, if it can solve, if it can calm this here spirit portal down, then I'm all for it. But if it can't, you owe me a radio. And not one of those newfangled ones, the ones that got all the tuners.
Yeah, I'll make sure I get you one. I'll make sure I get you one with doubly sound.
Great. I heard that there's Varick International. It says he's working on a radio with pictures. Now, if you can pull some strings and give me a radio with pictures, whew, man.
Like, what do you mean? They draw pictures and then
they like.
Sure, we can paint pictures on your radio if you want, like on the sides.
Oh, but the pictures move.
That's not possible.
Well, I mean, think about it. What if we drew a picture and attached it with like springs?
Okay. Now, that's thinking outside the box. Were radios even a thing when I was like last in the material plane, if you will?
No, they were not. The common way to exchange messages, at least in the Fire Nation, was through messenger hawks.
Right.
Which, they
radios, that'll never pick up. Moving pictures. Just a fad.
All right. Yeah, I will swipe his radio and the assorted parts I have, and I will attempt to make some sort of frequency modulation dischronificator to mess with the portals.
Okay. So, I'm inclined to think this is a push your luck, given that you have not made one of these before. You have
Correct,
made.
yeah, that's probably.
Can I help?
Yeah.
You certainly can. But how would Ura help?
Words of encouragement, mostly. What do you hand me that spanner? What's that?
I hardly know her.
Spanner? Yeah, telling dumb jokes. Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I mean, yeah, you also know more about the spirit world than the rest of us. So there might be some wisdom.
But only on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is sort of an interaction.
I don't know if I could feel it, like, as he sort of... Maybe.
Yeah,
see, I was sort of thinking he's trying to tune this thing to the spirit world just beyond it. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't necessarily know, like, what target he's trying to hit. But
right,
you might be able to feel it on a spiritual level a little better than he can, since Sachcha can.
Yeah, that's what I figured, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Market fatigue for this, apparently.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, that,
so I got.
I'll allow that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Here we go. Let's see here. I got.
Ironically, the one part that you need to make all this work, messenger hawk feathers. But now that they're all unemployed,
Right.
Yeah.
Living on the streets. Nice.
Boom.
Oh man.
Did you even need my help?
Well, they made it from an 11 to a 12.
No, I added it in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Yep.
Your boldness pays off. The GM tells you what other lucky opportunity falls in your lap. Okay, so you create this thing, and you know, what do you like? What do you thinking this looks like? Like the last thing was kind of like I almost pictured the last thing like a tuning fork of sorts with a knob. Like what does this device look like? And how would you imagine it functions?
So I use like a leather belt and put all these like exposed electronic pieces around it, and there's a bunch of wires that are going on it, and then I put it on my head, and then I've got like a little thing that flips down that's got a knob that I turn, and there's like little sparks of electricity that shoot across, static electricity.
Okay. So, like, is the control for this, like, on the belt? So are you like...
It's like a little thing that, like, flips down, that's sort of attached, that I, like, turn a knob right here.
Okay. So... You realize so what's happening is you're building this and like there's these sparks of electricity, and as you're kind of tuning the device and to changing the different frequencies, so you have to be I imagine like you're focused on a source because like you're changing the frequency of something that you're interacting with or some source that this thing is doing. So that source, in this case, since Ura's helping you, you know, I think Ura could be the source. So like you're fiddling with this, and like maybe you don't intend to, but like as you change, like Ura starts to glow, like like a faint blue, and like as you're tuning it in one direction, it grows brighter, and it almost like to Ura it almost feels like you're
it tickles.
Yeah, well it's more like pins and needles, like the brighter it is, like it almost feels like your whole body is falling asleep.
Got it.
And so
and at the other end he starts feeling electric shocks.
I can learn to do the lightning blast.
Finally.
So I guess the bonus thing is that I can control the portals, and I have discovered a wave therapy for ED.
Well, so there's like a you kind of sense not only you're seeing like this physically manifest in Ura, but like you're also kind of you've got this like kind of you've built in this feedback system that tells you like if you're pushing too far. So there's a certain point where Urakan, he's starting to not feel a good chunk of his body, and like your device is telling you that you're pushing it too far.
Yeah, and
that
it's
you're
like
changing it too
the
much.
shocks. Yeah, it will shock me more. So I'm starting to zap myself.
Yeah.
And my patch of hair is like standing on end.
Yeah. So the lucky opportunity here is
Apparently,
that.
that's not the only thing standing on end.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so the lucky opportunity here is that like you have this feedback system that like if you have some instant feedback to whether or not you're going in the correct direction or like applying too much pressure.
Yeah.
Which could make that easier. Could make that easier, especially in a situation where you're under duress.
Good.
So you got this device, and the mayor sees you doing this, like, whoa, you'll be controlling more than radio soon. You think about what you should call up that Varric fella. Seems like he could certainly, you could find yourself a steady job with him. Making cool things, making things worthwhile, like radios that beam pictures.
Yeah, make your own. You don't need to join that guy.
Yeah, but he's got the resources. But anyway, just food for thought. I see a bright future for you, and all you got to do is take it.
I think I've heard this before at the university.
Well, let's go test it out. Like Jinora, like.
Yeah. So I say I will do that. Thank you, Mayor. And as I touch the mayor, I zap him with my static electricity.
He stiffens up.
Whoa. What stiffens up?
His demeanor.
Yes.
Well,
that didn't clarify.
If you don't mind, I want to. I'm gonna come and watch.
Whoa.
I mean, if this device, this device promises.
I mind, by the way, in case the question comes up.
Let me gather my National Geographic magazines first before I head out.
No, if this can.
Everything I've heard about Varric, he will steal whatever you bring to him and just take it as his own.
He's an
entrepreneur. I mean, he's free. He's wandering the Earth Kingdom, last I heard, but he caused a lot of trouble in Republic City. Nearly bankrupted more than one company. Remember Cabbage Corp? Remember that before he got arrested? Well, Cabbage Corp, I don't know how they're doing anymore. After he was framed for treason.
Hey, I don't hear too much about Cabbage Corp these days.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, they became popular, in the last 100 years or so.
But yeah, we should go to see if we can use this on the portal here. If it works here, it'll work in Zaofu as well. So all the more reason to get there quickly.
All right, so you guys head to the portal. Um, and so you enter the markets, the central square. It is overrun with vines. They are covering, like, at this point. We didn't cover this in the recap, but the vines at this point kind of stretch almost all the way to the town edge. Though, like, the central, they appear to have stopped growing as far as you can tell. But the central square is overrun, but they haven't busted through. They haven't, like, torn apart the buildings. You can still get down some of the streets, but it would be kind of hard for a cart or a Sodom will be able to make it down at this point in time. But you kind of got this, it's this kind of overrun, but you can still kind of climb over vines and kind of watch your footing and still make through. But you see in front of you the spirit portal, and its base. You can still pick out the black lotus flowers.
So I will. I'll land a safe distance from the portal. So how does this work exactly? Do you have to be up close and personal with the portal?
I would probably figure I'd have to be within like 10 feet of it. So I'm going to try to find a frequency that's sort of, let's see, sort of change the energy of the portal so it's more neutral, like, as opposed to flipping it all the way to the other side.
Okay.
So I'm assuming negative energy is coming out of it.
Yeah, it's negative energy. So you'd
Wait,
be
do
able.
we still hear the? Do we still hear the cicada-like sound, or do we have to be in contact with it for that?
You still hear that cicada sound. You still, that you still have that kind of that silence. That's like about 30. It's like actually about 30 feet out, and like as you get closer, you hear that sound. So at about 10 feet, you could start tuning this and start changing it. And you've had some practice already, and like this is a thing that you just did, and so I'd say that this would just be a rely on your skills and training move.
Okay. Nice. Ooh, that was close.
So you're as you're tuning this to be more neutral, you've got this kind of at 10 feet you've got kind of this it's not a low thrum, it's like a medium thrum of cicadas in your ears. And you're so focused on this that you realize kind of last minute that the spirit vines that you're also standing on, because they're kind of everywhere, they're reacting to this. And
right,
you see one that is, while you're trying to change the energy, you see one that is like starting to try to snake up your leg. So you can
I help? Like, can I just like try and prevent
touch my leg
from having no, it was like if I like stand nearby just in case some shit happens.
And I assumed we were all standing nearby in case some shit happens.
Yeah.
So so I'll say that you can if this thing is gonna try to start snaking up your leg, but you catch it just in time where you can move it. You can like get out of the way and break free
Right.
from it, no problem. You would have to spend a fatigue, or you just continue to focus and kind of ignore it.
It seems a little bit too personal, so I'm gonna take a fatigue. And yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you step away from it, and you then notice, like, as you're changing this, as you're presumably changing the energy, like all the vines are kind of wriggling. They don't appear to be aggressive, as far as you can tell. Like, they're not reaching to attack you or attack anyone, but they all are responding. But for as far as you know, according to your device, the energy of the portal has turned it towards neutral. How this looks for everybody is that it was like this kind of this like sickly. It was kind of like a maybe sickly green, kind of like an undead green, you know. Look, had that kind of hue to it, and now it's more vibrant. It's kind of got a stronger color to it. It's less kind of sickly and more like, you know, like a light green.
Okay. Are we
And
taking Tycho through?
That was my plan to at least try.
Okay.
so while you are in like this cone, like in this air, within this portal, or like within this area, like as you're changing energy, you still can't hear. You still hear like the cicadas, but like other than that, it's silence. So like communicating this close to the portal, you'd have to step back and kind of get out of the range.
Right.
Which would mean that you'd have to kind of pause what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I know we talked about that before.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were talking about like in character or out of character.
No, I know we were going to talk about that before. So I guess what my second attempt would be is to make the portal bigger so we could get Tycho through. At least to a size that, you know, he wouldn't be any risk of him being harmed.
Okay. Yeah. Say make another rely on your skills and training
Okay.
roll.
Just made it.
Got that +3.
Kidding.
Yeah, so you turned, so you were turning the energy into from negative to neutral, and now you're pretty sure going towards positive could put this in line with how other spirit portals act. And so you start dialing it that way. As you're doing that, the sound, like the silence around you, you start to hear in the cicadas, like they start to die down, and you're starting to hear the world around you move again. Like you hear the wind rushing through the streets, and you hear your companions shift on the ground nearby. but you're getting you're like this other stuff is taking your attention, and you end up turning it too much, and you start getting shocked. And because you don't even, and because you've already like tested the shocks, you're like, oh yeah, I know what that feels like, and but like you just keep going, unintentionally. So
right. Yeah, I'm into it.
Can I feel it? Do I know? Can I go like, hey, stop?
Yeah. Ura could tell that like Ura could catch you, but I'd say that Sachcha in this case would just mark a fatigue,
all right,
because didn't get a perfect roll.
Right.
But this portal is now a vibrant green, and once it sets, you kind of stop at the point that you think is the correct point. You see just these spirals of they almost look like the what's it called? Like the DNA strands.
Double helix?
The double helix, yeah, thank you. You see like double helix kind of patterns rise up into the air out of this. And the base grows into this ball. So now, instead of looking just like a beam shooting into the sky, looks like almost like a bulb, of which like a stem is coming out of. And one of the things that everybody would notice this, but like as like this is changing, you would see like the black lotus flowers, they started to wilt when he turned it to neutral, and then as this portal is in its final form, they burn away, and kind of evaporate. And nobody you hear everybody hears the world around them. The silence is gone, the cicadas are gone, and you're filled with this overwhelming sense of peace. This is like, once this is like, you see this, like, this is truly beautiful. Like, if you've never, Gage has seen a spirit portal before because he's been to Republic City, but Ura probably never has.
I don't know how I got into the spirit realm in the first place, so.
Yeah, so Ura likely never has, and Sachcha, unless you traveled to Republic City for some errand, you probably wouldn't have either.
Yeah.
But this strikes you as something that is incredibly beautiful. And when people are talking about, like, this is what the harmony of, like, the spirit world and the physical world should be, like, this is kind of a representation of that.
So I would say, Sachcha, this is amazing. I thought your focus on technology was just some deep fucking nerd shit, but it actually works. Oh, I missed. I couldn't guide and comfort you.
This is what the singularity is. The perfect merger between spirit and technology.
It is not what I expected.
When you fail a guide and comfort, it's a GM move. I'd say that makes you feel a little insecure, Gage.
Okay.
Because
is that a condition? Yeah, it is. You can immediately get rid of that right now by just jumping in. Well, that was embarrassing. Good fun just running.
Wow. I didn't. Nualla steps up and she's like reaches towards it. It's like I didn't think there would ever be another way to make spirit portals. Now
I don't know if we actually made it. This was already here. We just tuned it.
And this is good because apparently there's now several new spirit portals, and most of them are mistuned, ill-tuned. So hopefully we can do the same for Zaofu and stop them from being attacked by dark spirits.
Indeed. Can we take this? How big is this radio? How big is the radio?
Well,
I thought he just took parts from the radio.
Yeah, I took parts and turned it into like a headpiece.
Oh, okay, right.
This is very
Unfortunately, the headpiece weighs as much as the whole radio, so it's like severe neck trauma.
I'm just thinking of Doc Brown whenever Marty goes back in time and it's got that fucking fucking colander on his head.
Yep. That was my inspiration.
Whereas I was thinking way older, there was this old Saturday Night Live skit where Al Franken was like a one-man mobile broadcasting unit. He had this like giant satellite dish on his head, and he's like, I'll be honest, I'm feeling severe spinal pain. I can't really turn my neck anymore. So we should get going. Let me go get Taiko. We could try passing through.
Jinora
and I will call Taiko over.
Jinora just like stands in awe at this. She's kind of taken back. Too much for words. There's lost for words.
I feel inspired. I don't know. I feel like Aura would like this. He would just like sort of bask in it for a second. Whenever you guys are ready to go. Just like kind of stand there, face like turned up a little bit, eyes closed.
With this new device, assuming it can be recreated or taken all the different portals, I don't know that there's any reason to close the new portals. They might as well just be left open. I guess it remains to be seen if this is stable, but assuming it is. But we should go. We can see what happens to this place in the future when the future arrives.
All right.
So I'm going to try to lead Taiko through the portal.
Yeah. It is, you know, there aren't any questions at this point about whether or not he's big enough because it expanded at the base. It is big enough to encompass Taiko. But for what it's worth, like if you had tried, like he could have probably made it through. Before.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah, but he could definitely make it through now.
He probably wouldn't have been extruded like toothpaste from a tube.
Probably.
Squeezing through the hole.
He wouldn't have been reconfigured in a different
giant pile of blood and guts in the spirit realm.
That's a good clarification, because just saying he could have made it doesn't mean anything.
Right. We could have ended up with buckets of buffalo wings.
But yeah, he'd be able to lead.
That's what we're looking for.
You'd be able to lead him through, and you step back out on the other side, and it is as you remember.
We'll wait for everyone to get through, and then
Oh yeah.
ask Ura to lead us back to that portal outside Ko's tree. Oh, by the way, Jinora, we're like going to be right outside Ko's tree. I don't know if we hammered that home, but that's where the portal is. I don't think we'll see Ko. Like, you don't have to go into the tree.
You see her tense up, and she kind of just does a quick glance to Nualla. She says, "Well, this is the best we got, so."
And as we learned, Ko himself isn't necessarily evil. He's just not working with us.
And extremely dangerous and unpredictable.
When he let us go, he was helpful when we met him.
Yeah. Well, I'm not quite trusting lightning to strike twice, but we'll see. Aang met him twice. Grandpa Aang met him twice, and you met him at least once, so maybe Aang's luck will hold out for you as well.
Like I said, we'll be hopefully outside the tree. So, what do we have to picture again?
I don't remember.
Yeah, so
We can picture our destination.
Yeah.
Yeah, you picture you're picturing the Valley of the Forsaken. It's this gnarled tree with an expansive root system, surrounded by two high walls and mists roiling. So you'd picture that in your mind, and you'd also pick with that picture would come to help amplify it, just feelings of dread. Putting yourself.
Do we still have the lantern or whatever? Did we get that?
You gave it back to Ira.
Okay.
So like this time you'd be going on your own.
Sure.
But you've been.
We don't need it. We got this.
Sachcha has a lamp.
Yes, I have a device that has a light. So I'm going to remove. I'm going to remove the headpiece, my device, because I don't want it to get in the way. I don't need to use it right now, and then I'll attach it like a belt since it's on a leather belt. So I now have two belts on.
Nice.
You need me to make this roll here?
Yeah,
I'll take a swig.
I was trying to.
I'll take a swig from Yayo's flask, and then like pour a shot into Taiko's mouth. All right, let's go.
Oh man, I love that. I was just thinking the same thing, and he like also takes a drink. He's like, anybody else want some? No, well, more for me.
Yeah. No, not you, Jinora. You're too young.
You gotta turn 18. So, this move is spirit travel to the library, but basically, the first 3 bullets apply.
Right. What? Okay, so my triangle is in the middle, but the circle is not.
You are not at your center.
Got it.
So do we have a spirit guide? Is Ura our spirit guide or no?
Ura is your spirit guide.
Okay, good.
Because he has done this before.
And can Taiko actually do this? Do we roll separately for Taiko?
So it's more of like Ura Ura gets his bearings and it's his role for the group. Like it isn't
Okay.
a separate role. So yeah, Ura, you've got
Just a +1.
So can we help? I mean, we've been there before. No.
No, this is just isn't necessarily a move that others can help with.
Okay.
So yeah, just a +1.
Whoa.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you remember that exact feeling of dread because you've been feeling it for quite a while now, and you were just able to channel that because you haven't quite been able to fully shake it. So, Ura projects you. You guys all start moving across the spirit worlds. It's falling away from you, and you see kind of starting at the distance, Ko's tree, kind of like a speck on the horizon, but then it just comes rushing past you, or rushing up, rather not past you, rushing up right to it until you're standing right in front of it. The portal is still here. When you arrive, you don't see it's kind of as it was when you arrived initially, where you don't see anything. It feels lifeless. But the mist is still kind of twirling at your feet, kind of moving in these unseen pathways through the air, these unseen currents. But yeah, you have the spirit portal. It's probably about 30 feet away from you, and you're in front of the tree.
So we don't see anyone else?
You do
or
not
hear anyone else? Oh, maybe we caught a break. Maybe they've moved on. Although just as likely they've passed back through to Zaofu. We weren't really clear why they were here. Presumably they were just here to agitate spirits.
Yeah.
So can you widen this one?
Yeah, can it be done from this side?
I don't know why not.
I mean, we're in the spirit realm. It might be a little stranger here. You're affecting literally everything around you. Instead of just this portal.
I mean, you could always cross through and do it from the other side.
That might be the best option.
Might be a strange feedback if you try and do it here.
That's fine. I mean, I was thinking it might actually be easier to see what you were doing if you're doing it from this side.
That's also true. I don't know. I don't know nothing. I don't know how that thing works.
But it worked from the other side last time, so no need to reinvent the wheel if we have a system that works.
Jinora pipes up. So so your device syncs the energy of the portal with that to make sure it's in the same. The frequency it syncs the frequency to make sure it's the same as it is in the spirit world. Do we really want, or is it? What does it mean to be in sync with this place?
Well, that's a fair point, given that this is a very different region of the spirit world. Maybe we should just go through and see what conditions are like on the other side. But the way it was explained to us by Ko, it's the disharmony between the gateway and the spirit world that's causing the spirits to manifest as dark spirits and attack. So the hope is just to make the portal match whatever it is on this side so that the spirits aren't as agitated by it. But this, given the nature of this particular location in the spirit world, maybe this is a portal we do want to close. I don't know what it means to have a spirit portal right next to Ko's lair.
Yeah, if the stories are true, it'd mean that he would have access to untold amount of faces, easy access, at least through Zaofu. And she kind of like looks behind her, like over her shoulder, back at the bole of the tree.
I mean, you're more expert than I am, but it always seemed to me like Ko wasn't necessarily looking to exist in the material world. Not in the way that Ankou was. But you may be right. Maybe he'll avail himself of the opportunity. Like I said, we should hurry and go through to see what's going on in Zaofu.
Yep.
I mean, if Ko was going to go through, he's probably had ample opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to lead Tycho through.
Okay.
Hey, let me go first, just in case. Just follow shortly after.
All right, be prepared. There may be dark spirits on the other side.
I'm always prepared. Oh. I walk through.
Right.
Before you do, Ura would hear,
Ura, have you come to visit again?
Mask on. Nope. Sure isn't.
you're like looking around and you don't see anybody, but like, and only Ura hears this voice, like as it's just been like projected to him, and you don't see Ko. It's just kind of like you hear that and it just kind of settles into the mist around you.
I take a step forward and say, I think he's around. I'll
Who's
still put the
around?
mask on. I'll just mask.
I mean, that probably would clue me into who he's talking about.
Yeah.
I would take out my mask and like put it on Nualla.
You've returned.
So I'll sort of stop and just like wave people through, like go on. Would you say?
You have returned. Do you seek
Kind of.
more? Has the
What?
lust for knowledge
Oh, that's fair. So I'll still wait and just like wave people through. Go on.
Yeah, I would wave Nualla and Jinora through.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sachcha, because you're officially the most important person in the party now.
Right. I've got us here. That my part's done. You know. I'm old. I can die. It's okay.
And then after Sachcha's through, I would lead Tycho through. And then we wait and see if Aurora comes through. And maybe the answer is no. Aurora is never seen again.
So I'll just sort of stop. Like, so my father came here.
he did?
And you see kind of in the mist, you just see a white face. You see a white face peeking out from you in the mist. That guy. And so it's like you just see the face, and as if it's just kind of like floating, and then the whole body just like comes into view.
Your father visited me a long time ago.
I would
100
imagine it would have been quite some time.
It was at least 80 years in the physical world since he last stepped foot in my lair.
What? Did he seek you out?
He did.
What knowledge did he seek?
He wanted to know where his only son had gone. And, of course, he had no other recourse than to ask me. And I told him. And he tried to get his only son, but failed.
And now you have his face? Just his face? Can you return him?
I have his face. We made an arrangement. A life for a face. He could not get you out of the fog of the lost souls. But that is something that falls within my domain, or at least I have the power to do so, or the means, if you will. And so, in return for his face, to secure your freedom, whether or not it was earned, I cannot say, but he seemed it important. He gave it up.
Was he alone?
And with that, he
turns. His face shifts to your father's, and you're looking at it. Make because he just can't help himself. So, make a focus roll. And you have your bottles on, so you get +2.
Oh, well, that's lucky.
Plus your focus.
Right. Bonus +2. Should be okay.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, you've seen this before, this exact transformation. You were expecting it, you didn't blanch.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to take the prepared status, which basically you can clear the prepared status for a +1 on the next roll.
On an appropriate roll or avoid marking a condition. Okay. Yeah. I just crossed my arms. My father taught me better than that.
I suppose he did. Well.
What, was he alone?
He was. He turned to me because he had nowhere else to turn.
I shall make him proud. I'll just sort of like bow to him, like, I thank you. It is good to know.
It is my pleasure. Please. I look forward to our next meeting. It will be soon, I am sure.
You think so? I will say, I guess. And I'll just, again, sort of bow and nod away and walk away. Turn to walk.
Okay. So yeah, he watches you. He watches you. If you had turned around to look at, like, take one last look at him before you, or in his direction anyway, before going into the spirit portal, you notice
That means you love him. If you turn and look back.
If I don't know. I got everything. He told me all that I need to know. That face was not my father's. That was his face now.
You'd see the body kind of disappear into the mist, and the face just hanging there before, like, a cloud of mist just washes it away, and it kind of disappears into it.
That's the camera. That's the audience watching. You know.
Yeah. It is it's episodic.
Yeah.
Cinematic.
Absolutely.
That's what they see.
And one tear streaks down the face.
We already did that. Uro had when the first change to see that face.
Right.
Uro had a single tear.
No, this was on the face stealers. His face had the tear.
It made the makeup run just a little bit.
He was touched.
Sad he wasn't going to get like a match set, father and son.
Complete set.
So is Ura going right through? Is he taking a moment to himself?
No. He's determined. He's prepared, if you will.
All right, he's stepped through. The status clears at the end of the scene, so the status kind of just goes away at this point.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay, got
it works. Yeah, in this game, statuses work within the context of the scene. Yeah, so.
I understand. Okay.
But just a mechanics reminder.
Right.
So you step through. So that everybody sees Ura pass through with his bottle of glasses.
I'll take it off once I go to start walking through. It's like off now. Got pocket it. Any fighting going on out here?
I think that's a good spot for a 5-minute break, actually.
Okay.
All right.
Commercial break.
Be right back.
Now on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, right. Ready to get started again?
Yep.
All right. So you come out of the portal, and you're in a room that is well, currently you can't hear anything. For one, you hear cicadas, and you hear the cicada sounds very loud. You see spirit vines reaching across, stretching across the room. They look like they're about 30 feet out, and growing fairly fast, as far as like plants go. Probably about as fast, if not a little faster, than the ones that at Nalpai that you measured and saw. The room you're in has a long table in it that looks like it's been thrown to the side, and it's kind of on its end, kind of on its side, and it's actually broken in half. You see the chairs scattered everywhere. You look on the walls. There are paintings and tapestries, not like tapestries like banners. Banners, the word. And they have this kind of gray. They have this gray. It looks like it's like an octagon with a circle in the center. That looks like the Earth Kingdom circle, the Earth Kingdom sigil, but it's grayed out. And Sachcha, you would recognize this as you would instantly recognize this as the emblem for for Zaofu. And you would notice that this symbol was also on a various kind of insignia of the soldiers that you encountered in Naupai. From the vantage point, you're kind of like on a dais of sorts, so you're kind of raised above the rest of the room, and looks like there's like a few steps that go down. Sakshik. I just saw the picture of the helmet. Sakshik, you would recognize. You know. So what Sakshik knows about Zaofu, because he lives here, is that Zaofu is broken into cloisters, and so the whole city is like the collection of these cloisters is Zaofu, but you can think of them as like districts.
Okay.
There's in the picture, the center piece is central Zaofu, and that's kind of like the main hub. When people talk about Zaofu, that's what they're usually talking about. The one closest in the foreground is the Performing Arts Center. This is also known as the PAC on various posters. The cloister to the right, sitting up on this cleft here, that's called the Yang cloister. And Sakshik would know that's where that tends to be where a lot of the affluent and upper class people within Zaofu tend to live there, because it's got a nice view, and it's got kind of closer access to it's decently close access to the Beifong estate if they need to come calling. The cloister on the left, the far left, is called that's the Yating cloister. This is the one that you're most familiar with because this is the one where you would primarily have lived your whole life. This is where you grew up. And then this one to the far left is called the Hillside Meadows cloister. That tends to be upper middle class. The Yating cloister tends to be kind of the lower class and the working class. Lower working class tends to there, and like some middle class. And then the one all the way in the back is the Beifong estate. They have their own cloister. I'd say both Gage and Sakshik would know this, but uh, this picture is a little false in that there are no longer these. There used to be these petals that would retract and like protect the city, like they would kind of close up in times of duress and danger. Those were all dismantled, probably 4 to 6 years ago. They were dismantled. They were dismantled so that they could be turned into uh, uh, Kuvira. There was an upstart dictator named Kuvira that came out of Zaofu, um, and she dismantled them to use them as parts for a giant mech that she ended up using to attack Republic City. To date, they have not replaced those giant platinum shields. So like they're just now these are cities that are just like kind of exposed, and they don't have the initial.
Yeah.
Um, that has been like the fact that haven't been put back has been like a sore subject for a lot of people, a lot of citizens of Zaofu. But based off of based off of what you're looking at, you're guessing that you're either like the surroundings beside the table is nice, the surroundings are pretty nice. You're guessing that you're either in the Yang district, because that's where the upper class and the aristocratic nobility tend to live, or you're in the Beifong estate, based off of like what you can tell about the what you can tell.
Quality or furniture and shit, or
Yeah, like
even though it's like tossed right now.
even though it's tossed, yeah.
Well, where do we know where the portal is normally opens up at? Or does somebody? Maybe I don't, but
There is not normally a portal here.
I see what you mean. Okay, got it.
Yeah. But
Oh, that's right. I'm not. I'm thinking of the one. There's one in Republic City or whatever, right? That's
Right.
the one that's like established.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
But what is something else? Like what's something that like given that Sachcha lives here, and maybe he not hasn't necessarily been in this room, but what's something else that he would expect that like wealthy people in Zaofu would have in places where they gather?
Radio.
Giant ball filled with money and a diving board.
Scrooge McDuck in it. So you do see a radio or two. They are cast aside. They're kind of leaning against the wall, and they don't look to be currently operational. But you could make them operational if you really wanted to.
Or I could just take the parts.
Or you could take the parts.
Oh, wait, I do owe the mayor a radio. So yeah, I will swipe one of the radios since I owe him one.
All right.
But it sounded like the deal he made was you'd get him one with even more features than the one he was giving you. So.
Right, but if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, if you can't
something's better than nothing, right?
On the moving picture radio.
Right. It actually creates pictures in your mind. You just have to focus.
Just have to learn how to transmit the movers, as they call them, over the air, the way they do radio.
You mean they just beam ads to your sleep now?
So is there a door that leads out of here?
Yes. In front of you, there's a door directly in front of you. It looks like it's about 25 feet or so away.
So I guess
You want to try and stabilize this portal right here?
I was going to use unreliant skills and training
What?
to check for traps, but
We can't even talk to each other while we're in this thing, right? Because of the
Yeah.
cicadas.
Yeah, you guys are mouthing to each other, and yeah.
I was like,
I mean, yeah, I would just point to his hat and then point to the portal.
yeah, I'll put it back on.
All right. So yeah, it's a rely on your skills and training roll.
All right, so I have one question.
Sure.
If I hit 5 fatigues, I have to take a status or a condition or something?
Condition.
Conditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm at 4 fatigue, but what needs to be done needs to be done.
is there something I could do to help to remove some of the fatigue? Is there
You could
a move?
comfort. Guide on comfort.
Oh, well. I don't know how you do that in this. I don't know how you do that in silence and not make it awkward.
Just like motion air
Come up
hugs.
behind you and start like
Yeah.
massaging your shoulders.
It's all nonverbal.
Yeah.
He just becomes more tense.
This is getting weird.
You're massaging his shoulders while he's closing the portal so you get an erection.
Oh boy. All right. All right, here we go. Let's see. Come on. Roll it.
Nice.
Nice.
Piece of cake.
Yeah. You do it perfectly.
Yeah, I get the hang of it.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
We'll kind of narrate the whole thing, but the this portal, like the cicadas sound go away, and it similar to the one in Naupai, this one shoots up a green light. It's bright. You see the double helix, and as like the sound barrier kind of fades, and you can hear the world again, or the world here. You hear like the sounds of yells coming from the main, like coming from outside the door. So in front of you is that like 25 feet to the door or so.
Okay.
Seems like they might need some help.
Do they sound like yells like they're coming towards the door, or just yells like
they're in distress?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like fighting, like ha, or like ah.
The latter.
Got it.
right.
I'll run from the room.
You walk out. You run out into a hallway, and you look to your left and right. To your right, you see like this bat like dark spirit like harrying like a young man, and he's trying to fight it off. Like he's shooting like he's shooting and like trying to whip metal at it, but it just passes through it. He's having no effect, and it's basically just like kind of dive bombing and dive clawing him like the top of his head.
Flame charge.
All right. With that, we'll set up a combat exchange. This is the first one in like 8 episodes. Let's do this.
Look at that dashing young man.
This was. Damn, where did they go? Ah.
I have slowly been watching some Avatar, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And the
Oh,
first
yeah.
thing I noticed was like, why do all of the non-sapient animals have 6 legs? What weird evolutionary divergence was there that this happened?
It's because they're all combined species. So you have a turtle duck. It has the legs of a turtle and the legs of a duck.
And then but everything
they're
is
actually
4-limbed.
right. There actually is no explanation. I was just suggesting that if you have like 2 4-limbed animals and you mash them together, you get a 6-limbed animal. That's
Yeah,
just science.
Some of their 2 of each of their limbs mesh together. You don't get the sum of all of them. You just get
Right. Well, that would be
time
silly.
and a half. Yeah, right. Yeah. I guess I said I was going to do the flame charge. That's a defend and maneuver. So.
All right, and then that's set. So you go first.
Yeah. So I'm going to do my flame charge. So it becomes impaired and I become favored.
All right. They. Let me fix that real quick.
I basically get 2 actions next turn.
So it becomes
Judging by the look of this.
impaired, and you become favored.
I forget the combat mechanics. When do you do the stance move?
Oh yeah, you know what? That's right. Thank you. It's been so long. You have to make a stance move first.
What's that? Oh, I gotta roll the focus.
You have to roll
Right.
roll the focus. So you decide that you're gonna do defend and maneuver, and then you make the stance move to see like what
Oh, you gotta be
do.
fucking kidding me.
Are you gonna be humbled again?
It'll shift me off. I'll go off the edge.
If we're
Can I?
you will. So yeah, if you do that, you will become incapacitated for the context of the scene through some means. Like you won't not like necessarily like pass out. But
Can I resist? Resist shifting my balance?
Well, you don't have to shift your balance. Like you can if you want to still like fight. But if you do shift your balance and you go off like towards humility, you would then get a new skill.
I know, but I don't want to be like out of the combat.
If you don't want to shift your balance, then a miss is just you can't take a turn.
Yeah, you just basically you fumble.
I mean, it could be funny, and that like I'm charging towards this thing, and this guy, you said he was like throwing shit.
Yeah.
And like he misses, and it fucking hits me. Like fuck. But I would get a new skill, which is cool.
Like he throws something, it hits your third eye, and you're like, I see clearly now.
Yeah, boy, talk about a humbling experience.
I remember.
I'm gonna learn a new skill to avoid that happening again. Yeah, I don't know how that works actually. Thematically, I don't know how it works.
How what? How what? Works?
How
I think
if it
it's
makes
like
sense logically.
I think
Like,
you
how would
black out, and while you're in your blacked out state, you start to remember things you've long forgotten.
Yeah, maybe like old training sessions. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what? Fuck it. I'll do it.
You get to shift your balance. It all happens simultaneously, so you still get to act. Like, you still get to
You
act.
can use a basic maneuver,
Yeah.
basic technique.
Oh, not one I've mastered or whatever.
Usually.
Well, it sounds like I'm getting incapacitated.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Usually.
Stance move says if you shift your balance, you can use one basic technique. So that is like strike as opposed to.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So I shift my balance in order to do the thing.
Yeah.
But
Right.
then, as a result,
yeah.
I'm incapacitated.
Apparently, yeah. You're
Yeah.
at the end of your track, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I am. Yeah.
It like basically like in combat exchanges, like everybody acts the same. Like thematically, everything acts at like the same time, and then like at the end,
So
it's like when you.
I missed, but like I like okay, I could still like throw a kick or whatever. I guess I did defend a maneuver, didn't I?
Yeah.
Ready, retaliate, and seize a position. That's all I got. I don't know what I could do there. Can I still just strike? Even though I did a defend a maneuver? Can't believe I rolled fucking snake eyes. It might just be easier if I just miss.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, there wouldn't be necessarily a way to directly strike. You could do retaliate, which would be the closest, and that would be when they hit you.
Right. Well, I mean, I did. Oh, I guess I don't know. Did I didn't get my flame charge off, so I'm not engaged with it, right?
Yeah. So basically, like Uro would be like coming out hot, and then like.
Literally.
Like
yeah.
It just isn't like he's like kicking it, not feeling it, and then like he can
right.
like feel humbled by that, and then like just go in for to do something else.
The knowledge of my father hit harder than I realized. And it's put me off balance a little bit.
So are you going to shift your balance so you can do ready, retaliate, or seize a position? Or are you going to
yeah, I don't know. I feel like it might be a bit easier for me to just miss.
Okay. Yeah, so you miss.
Yeah.
This creature sees you, and it breaks away from its current quarry and starts flying towards you, because it's taking the.
It did the same thing, right?
It's taking the seize of position.
Yeah.
Yeah. So NPCs just get to always use the number of techniques equal to 1 plus their balance rating. So it gets one technique. So it's doing a seize of position. It's basically breaking away from its quarry. It's gonna come towards you, and as it's flying towards you, 4 other of those same spirits phase through the wall to like bear down on you.
Whoa, guys, there's a lot out here.
So you hear like what Gage and Sachcha hear as they see Ura run out the door, and he like his feet like flame and sputter
As
as
he
he like
gets pelted in the head.
yeah, and then because he didn't do anything, so he didn't get pelted in the head, but his flames feet and sputter, and then you hear like a screech, and you recognize this screech as like ones that you heard on the night that the dark spirits attacked in Naupai. And they're coming from outside the hall, or in the hall.
So, yeah, I would run in that direction with Tycho.
Okay. So Tycho can definitely fit in this room. He can fit in the hallway, though it's going to be a tight squeeze.
Well, I'd probably leave him in the room rather than fill the entire hallway.
How tall is the hall?
The hall is quite tall.
He can fly, right?
Yeah, you can hover.
The hall is a good, like, we have like good 25-foot ceilings. Like, it's a high vault, very high vaulted.
So for the moment, I would probably just leave him behind and run out into the hallway.
All right. Yeah, you see flying towards you, well, in your direction as well as Wara's direction. You see these bat-like dark spirits. What's Sachcha doing?
So I see that they are headed for Aura.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt to bolster his position. So aid or impede. So I want to aid a nearby character, inflicting an appropriate status. So I get to clear 1 fatigue and roll with creativity if I am I'm sure. Do I do that anyway? Do I have to be successful to clear fatigue?
So you're gonna help. So, but Sachcha's gonna come out and try to engage. Is gonna engage with them as well.
Basically, we're gonna select our cards.
Yeah. Okay.
For the initiative.
Oh. Yeah, and then we take the stance move and see what you can do.
Okay.
There. So throw in Sachcha and Gage out here. And we'll add you to the initiative. Alright, and then we're going to do the cards. All right. Gotta put on some actual combat music, not this atmospheric stuff. There we go. Eternal Desert. All right. Oh no. What happened? All right, Gage, it's your turn.
So now I do a stance move?
Now you do a stance move. Nine.
So, what am I going to do?
You get to use a basic or a mastered technique.
So I'm going to pressure whichever one of the bat creatures is closest to Ura so that he can't advance an attack.
Okay. All right, that will affect the next combat exchange. But sounds good.
That's my turn.
They chose advance and attack, and they are going to. Well, they're just gonna take the easy way out, and they're going to reach in to dive at Ura, and to do a strike. And so they're gonna force you to mark 2 fatigue. As they come in and they're gonna they start harrying you, and taking advantage of your misstep.
Okay.
Sachcha.
Okay, let's see if I can do this here. All right, so I'm going to bolster my friend there. Let's see if I can do something. Ooh. Just made it.
Nice. So yeah, you can use a basic or math. Oh, I guess it tells you. Yeah. Bolster. So, are you giving? How are you bolstering them?
So is it the statuses that are on the?
Yeah,
That
it's
we're
the
talking about?
statuses. So
Okay.
basically, you can inflict a negative status upon like a foe, or you can give a positive status towards an ally.
Well, yeah. Second.
You know, in general, like favored, inspired, or prepared are ones that would be most likely to be things that you could bolster somebody with. Empowered is kind of special, in that it's not something that like you can usually just do.
If you could figure it out, that'd be helpful, though.
I would, if I could give him the prepared status.
Yeah, I think.
I would think he might need inspired so that he can shift his balance away from the very edge of his chart.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Ow, it's fine.
And again, that's how he apparently learns new skills. So
Yeah. The first time I get to that +1 on that, and then to that +2, and then +3. That's how I get new skills, new powers, or whatever techniques.
The Foundry has kind of done something wonky, and now I can't see what I'm trying to do. So
yeah. Yeah, it did that for me. I ended up just resizing it a little bit, or like making the window bigger.
Yeah, but I can't see somehow. For some reason, the top stuff is like gone, so I can't look at the. So I got to bring my character sheet up since it went to crap.
You might need to reload.
Yep. Okay. Okay. All right. I'll do inspired for you, and then I lose 1 fatigue.
Yikes. Yep. So how are you inspiring Ura?
I've got my little head thing on, and I start tuning it, and then he's like, he starts turning blue.
This is what happens when you fail. Nice. Ura, you are inspired.
Sweet. Oh, apparently it's my turn.
It is your turn.
Okay, cool. Let's see.
So yeah,
Oh,
you have
if
to
I'm
roll the
inspired,
stance
okay,
move.
Yep. So I'm harmonious, right? So yeah, I'm gonna roll with harmony. You're getting real fucking too
All
close, honestly. I saw 1 and it wasn't shifted. I'm like, you fucking. Um. Let's see here. I guess.
Yeah, technically, I think we resolve our approaches first and then roll the stance move. Because what you roll in your stance move depends on what your approach is. Like he's chosen evade and observe, which is harmony.
Oh, evade and observe is the stance. Should be the stance move.
Right.
Right.
So,
yeah.
but so don't you have to pick your move first? Pick your approach.
Evade,
then roll it.
Move.
Evade and observe is the approach.
Right, but he's picking a new approach in a new round, I assume.
Huh? No, this is it.
So
this is
yeah,
me.
right. I thought
last time I did defend and maneuver. This time I did evade and observe.
Right. So I thought at the beginning of each round, everybody picks like an approach, and then based on that, you figure out who goes first, and then that person rolls a stance move based on the approach they took.
Oh, like kind of going. Like
I thought at the beginning of each round, you pick a new approach, and
yes.
so everybody has to pick a card.
Yeah.
And maybe he picked evade and observe, and I didn't notice it.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Last time I did defend and maneuver, because that's where that's actually where the bulk of my flame bending techniques are. So, I guess let's.
And a reminder, you still technically have to hit like an opponent 3 times in a row with fire in order to learn whatever it is Uncle Ira was trying to teach you.
Yep. And that can be done through creative use of like that could be done through like a standard advance and attack roll as well.
I don't actually remember what I picked for that.
Oh, that was Fireball Barrage, I think. Was the move?
Oh,
that...
got it. Oh, I don't see it on here. That's why.
Yeah, because
I did pick that one.
Yeah, because you didn't learn it yet.
Did I fail to learn it?
You did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Yes, and so you have to hit somebody 3 times in a row with fire in order to pick it up. I don't know what in a row means. Like is that mean without a miss or whatever? What the official mechanic is.
I do vaguely remember that now. Yeah, well, it's not going to happen this round. So I think what I'll do, because I don't want to put. Oh yeah, that's right. I get to remove a fatigue, so that's helpful. And then I'm going to go ahead and test the balance on this thing. On these things, are they all the same?
They are, yeah. They're
creature?
they're
I
a,
actually, I guess
they're a
look at this
mob.
right here. Okay. Yeah.
Mark 1 fatigue to challenge an engaged foe's balance. Well, they don't really talk, or they don't really talk. But what you can tell is that the way that they flock together, they're like birds of a feather, and you would gather that their principle is community or something like around strengthening the flock. So that being said, their principle is
Okay.
community.
Interesting. All right. I don't know how I attack that.
Every
But
bird for himself. Just yell really loud. Make them scatter.
I would imagine if we can knock one of them out, they might all flee.
These particular if you could do something, you figure if you could do something to disrupt the community or like break them apart somehow, that would be effective.
Sure.
Or to like show that it's in their best interest as a group to not challenge you would also be a way to approach that principle or approach them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll just clear the inspired to pull me just slightly away from the balance, from the edge here. And do that in a more controlled environment.
Okay.
Not in combat.
All right. So Gage, how are you? How is Gage putting pressure on this flock?
I mean, so I assume I was coming in and sort of blasting a wall of air between the one that was closest to Orda and Orda himself, so as to try to sort of force him back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a bird; he should respond to air.
Yeah. So he would have hit Ura, but like then afterwards been launched back,
Right.
so that it could not, attack again directly anyway. But yeah, they're gonna wheel around. They're gonna wheel around again. And pick cards. All right. Ura, you're first.
All right, I'll roll focus for my defend a maneuver. Cool.
Just makes it.
Um, I think what I'll probably do here, yeah. I want to try and separate them with a wall of fire here. The one that's next to me can stay there. I don't think I can get rid of that one. I don't think. Maybe I can. I don't know. Maybe it'll let me. Turn the music down again. Every time it goes to a new song, I gotta turn it down.
Oh, mark at the top. There's a play at the top of the soundboard. There's a playlist slider. Move that one down. Cause yeah, if you do it for the song, it just goes for all the songs. Or it's just for that song.
It's just for the one song, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once I've marked all of them, then it's fine. Yeah. So let's see here. Let me mark one condition. Do I get a condition, or I mark a condition on them?
You
mark
get a
the
condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I don't even know if I can, unless I can get back into, maybe I will be able to. You know what? Fuck it. I'll be shaken. That's a personal one, I think. I don't know if anybody else gets that.
Yeah, that's just you.
I'll have to go. I'm gonna have to go find General Iroh again. Because all my
Being the
old
oldest man
old
alive.
friends. Yeah. All my old friends are dead.
You talk to your dad's face.
Yeah, exactly. And then I get to move away, basically.
Yeah, you get to basically create a wall of fire between you and them, and get to move to a new place.
They're disengaged
unless they want
with you, unless they want to take the damage.
Right, take the 4 fatigue on it. Yeah, that's up to them. But I'll do that. I'll back up.
Okay. How far are you backing up?
Just like one category.
For context, there is about there's probably about 35 feet of hallway behind you before you hit a wall, which then it cuts. The hallway continues in one of the directions. So.
Yeah, I'll back up 35 feet.
Okay. Sounds good. Gauge. Nice. This.
So yeah, I'm going to strike twice then.
Okay.
At whichever one I was engaged with before.
Okay.
So they can choose basically to take 2 fatigue or mark a condition or shift their balance.
Okay. They will take a condition and 2 fatigue. They took the angry condition, so they start screeching louder as they are enraged. Getting nailed with gouts of air. It's their turn, and they are going to. You see them kind of lining up in chevron formation.
Traditional chevron formation.
As they look like they're setting up something a bit more complex. Prepared.
They are spirits that could join together like Voltron.
And they're gonna clear their 2 fatigue. Because right now, being angry is they're okay with that. But yeah, they're in chevron formation, and they're standing on the other side of the wall, or they're currently on the other side of the wall of fire. But you can see like their eyes glinting through the flames. Sachcha.
All right.
All right. Just let's see. Do you have any learned techniques? No. You
In
do. You
evade
do.
and observe, no.
Oh, evade and observe. You do not have it. Okay.
No. I'll remove a fatigue. So, I guess my question is, if I do hinder, do I inflict a status on them?
Yes. Yeah, you inflict a negative status on them. So that would be impaired, trapped, or stunned.
I'm gonna. Okay. So I'm gonna do trapped because they're behind the fire, so.
Okay. You're completely helpless. You must mark a combination of 3 conditions or fatigue to escape. So how is what are you imagining? How are you further entrapping them?
I stare at them and then I take my little device, start turning it,
Oh.
see if I can affect these spirits.
They do like stand. They kind of stop screeching for a moment as they're like as they start quivering.
Yeah, they do.
All right.
It only
I
took an
imagined you
hour.
like. But
I was going to say it only took like an hour for us to take that device and turn it from a positive good for the world into a weapon to use against spirits.
right. I just pictured like they're trapped like behind the fire. You like take one of those like the bellowers. You just happen to have one in your bags, and you start stoking the flames. No. We're just gonna assault them
Yeah.
spiritually.
You know that feels very on brand uh, for Earth Kingdom, Earth Kingdom, Earth Kingdom attitudes of how to deal with problems. Just head on. You know, I have this thing. We'll just turn it up. All right. So they're currently kind of in this. They're currently in this quasi state here. Um, I'm assuming you guys are going to continue to press the attack on them.
What's the guy doing?
You don't see him.
Well, he might have ran then.
Let's see.
Do you want to keep fighting here, or shall we leave?
Not sure the angry birds are going to let us just leave.
Yeah.
They might not have a choice if they're stuck behind that for a second.
Not Gage's turn. It is. I was trying to see if I could do that mid.
Alright.
There we go. Is that correct? Let's see. Yep, that's correct. It's actually they didn't order this right, but PCs technically go first in the same stance over NPCs, so you get to go first. Sachcha.
Okay. Okay, what's that? Okay. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna get rid of a fatigue and use one of my what?
Did you did defend and maneuver? So you
Yeah.
what
Right. So that's evade and observe lets you clear fatigue.
Yeah.
My bad. Hold on. Yep.
Yeah.
I read that wrong.
Oops. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't some playbook feature or move I wasn't thinking about.
Oops.
And just throwing that out there, you could mark a fatigue to turn your stand strong technique into a practice technique, since you did roll a 10 plus. You don't have to, but that is an option.
Yeah, I think that's worth it. That's what I'll do. We'll take another fatigue and do stand strong.
Nice. So that is, you gain the prepared status, and you can mark that as practiced. They are currently, they were stunned, or they were trapped. Trapped.
Have to mark a lot of fatigue to move.
Yeah, you must mark a combination of 3 conditions or fatigue to escape. Well, they will mark 3 fatigue. And they will...
I don't know how long my wall of fiery breath lasts, but it's 4 to go through that.
That just lasts within
It's just that one.
the
Okay.
exchange. Yeah.
I wasn't sure how long it lasted. So.
Yeah, it lasts through the I think it just lasts through the exchange, um, since this, yeah, since this tends to go exchange by exchange.
Right.
I mean, that creates an issue though when he uses the wall after they've gone, because then they never have an opportunity to re-engage him and pass through his wall.
Right.
Like I wonder if it's not like pressure and it affects them in the next exchange, but I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Let me take a look at that move again.
I mean, I think as long as they're not trying to re-engage with Ura, who is now backed up, I don't know that it actually matters right now, because they could probably do whatever they're going to do without passing through the wall anyway. I'm sure if they're planning on going after Ura, that it probably matters whether or not they have to pass through this wall or not.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that Ura and everybody else was on the same side of the wall. So like if they were going to do anything, that wouldn't just affect Ura.
That might be. I had a different picture in my head, but that makes sense too. I imagine Ura basically just putting up a wall between himself and the birds and then backing up.
Yeah.
But we were essentially on the same side with the birds.
Gotcha.
But that was not clear.
Yeah. Well, what were you thinking, Ura?
Oh, I mean, I kind of was. Again, I don't have like a clear picture of where we're at, but
the hallway is about like you're in this hallway. It's probably about 5 feet or so wide.
It's not very wide.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you said they
we
came
were
out of the
behind
walls at me. So yeah, I would imagine that unless all my friends were on that side of me, then I would have walled down and jumped backwards, and so everybody kind of would have been back on this side of it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I could have made that clear, how big this hallway is.
These are the reasons why theater of the mind used to create issues in D&D. Because people be like, I cast fireball. I'm like, you can't cast fireball. I'm standing there. No, you're not.
That's fair. All right. Yeah, for the purposes of this,
I mean, actually, I would say I do sort of take it back that because Wall of Fiery Breath is defend and maneuver, it's necessarily the case that it's going to go like first in a round, and since PCs go first, it's going to go before any enemies ever do. So it does actually make sense that they would kind of have to figure out what they're doing with the wall in the same exchange.
Yeah, I think so, because it's kind of like it's a mechanism to create distance, and like it's like a blast of fire. So I think that for this, like it was just a way so that Ur could get some distance between him and the things. So yeah,
this seems fine to me. Yeah,
cool. But yeah, they're gonna take their three fatigue, and they're going to do retaliate. So each time a foe inflicts fatigue condition or shifts your balance, inflict 1 fatigue on the foe. So like, what that looks like is like they kind of they kind of fly a little bit higher so that their talons, their spirit talons, will be in reach. Gauge.
Okay, so first I'll do my roll. Let's see. Uh-oh. Let's see. Do I want to take a ship like that? No, I'm just going to miss.
All right. Aura.
What was the thing that you said they if next time?
Oh, if you each time a foe basically affects them, they retaliate and they inflict 1 fatigue back.
Interesting.
Like
Okay.
Thorn Shield.
All right. So let me go ahead and roll my harmony here. Cool. So I'll get to clear that fatigue. That'll be nice. And then I can, let's see. Use 2 different. Okay. What is my, yeah, okay. Let's do a yeah. So I guess I'll do patience. So I'll mark a mark of fatigue to gain the prepared status, and then I will then use an advanced attack technique, explosive blast. Now that they're up in the air, I can go.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Your target must either dive for cover or take the blow. They do have 2 statuses. They are both favored and prepared. Clear prepared to take +1 or avoid marking a condition. But they were already, or not. That was from before.
If they're impaired, then they can't do it, but they weren't impaired, right?
They were not. So I don't think they would, I think that they would see this and they would dive through the wall. They would like phase through the wall, and so like it would catch them on the tail end. So they would mark 2 fatigue and become impaired.
Okay.
But they're gonna clear their prepared status so that they only mark 1 of those fatigue. Oh wait, no, that's avoid marking condition.
No, that's only condition. Yeah.
Yeah. right, so yeah, they've got 5 fatigue. And they're impaired.
Do they have? All right. 5 fatigue, man. If only. If I had. Is there a way to get like a bigger fatigue threshold?
As a PC, I don't think so. Actually, I'm not aware of one off the top of my head. Maybe there is. I like master and legendary NPCs have more fatigue, like a higher threshold.
Gotcha. Then so then I get two techniques, right? So I guess I'll bolster hinder. I'll bolster an ally who hasn't gone yet. I don't remember.
So you used patience, right? And you used your
and I got the full hit. I can use 2 different basic or mastered techniques. So
one
was patience.
Sorry. Yep, sorry.
Which let me use the explosive blast.
Yep.
And then are they now like out of view, or did they like dive out of the way and come back?
They would have come back. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, does anybody else want to try and hit them? I guess they're doing their weird prepared things. I don't know. So maybe it's best not to provoke that. So yeah, I'll just bolster hinder. I'll do. Prepared. I'll give prepared to Gage. I don't remember who's gone yet.
I've already gone this round.
You have already gone.
Yep.
Then let's give it to Sachcha.
He's gone as well.
So you are.
I've already gone.
But it was still.
I guess it doesn't matter.
It'll still be within the context of like this scene. So. Like, with Ko, it was like once you're no longer talking to Ko, you're no longer prepared.
Right.
In the same way for Ko.
You're not prepared for that. Yeah, exactly. Yep, makes sense. Then I think I'll Gage is like punching it real good, and then Sachcha's doing that. Yeah. I'm gonna roll. All right, hold on. Evens, Gage, odds, Sachcha. There you go.
All right.
You ready for an attack? Prepare yourself.
So, these creatures, or these spirits, are kind of flapping their they're like screeching at you, and they're screeching, and they turn and phase through the walls, and go opposite directions. And you're waiting there for a moment, and you no longer hear them because you can't hear through the wall so easily, as easily, and they're not, nothing is like coming at you from behind or from out. After like a minute would pass, you guess that they've run, they've moved on.
So I start making my way out of the building.
Young man, are you all right?
I'm
just call out because I figured. Yeah, I didn't see him. I figured he just got up and ran and hide or something. So.
dark spirits in the estate. I can't believe they opened up a portal here. I never imagined that.
Who's they?
I don't think the spirits did it. I think it was, some people we've run across before.
I don't recall seeing anyone, but that's
Fiery-haired woman?
he thinks real hard, and he's like,
Don't hurt yourself.
I didn't see a fire. I don't recall anybody that looks like that. There was a man.
We saw them on the. Go ahead.
There was a man I'd never seen before. He had a bald head, and he was wearing what looked like robes, like as if he was some sort of air nomad.
I look at. Okay, I was going to say I look at Orna.
Oh no, he wasn't bald. He had white hair.
Him we've seen, right?
Yeah, you've seen.
Probably.
Yeah. That the description definitely strikes rings a bell. He came. He was in here. He was with a group of people. They were dressed up as. I thought they were just soldiers. Thought he was maybe some visiting dignitary from the air nomads. But that's the only.
Which building are we in?
You're in the Beifong estate, sir. How did you get in here?
No, through the portal.
From the spirit world, we came here.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Well, we're here to help. Actually, Sachcha, you should probably see if you can retune that portal. I don't know if it'll calm down the spirits that are already here, but it may prevent others from entering.
Didn't we do that already?
Yeah.
Did we do that for this portal? Okay,
Yeah.
my mistake. Oops. There's a window.
I do have my paperwork that appointed me the Assistant Minister of Technology, but I don't think I'll bring that up right now.
The spirits rushed through the portal, and many of them went out, and they've gone into the city. From what I understand, the police are on it, but we're not used to a dark spirit attack. We've only heard the tales. I don't know what steps or measures they've taken to prepare. If you've come from the spirit world and you've clearly have maybe some rapport with them, or you at least handled those ones, maybe you'd be helpful.
Your police might be able to do enough to hold it off. We should probably find the ones responsible. Do you know where this young man went after this portal opened?
I didn't see him. I mean, I saw him walk the halls earlier in the day, but I didn't see him
come here to meet anybody?
I didn't get a good look. Honestly, I was just passing through, and he noted he seemed different and out of unexpected, different from the usual crowd.
Is there anyone who would have been here when the portal opened? Because we need to find the people who opened that portal.
Well, the Beifongs, Su Beifong should be around. I don't think she's away from the away from the city today, or even the estate. She may have an idea. But
Well,
that's the
we're
best I can
basically
think of.
visitors here, so you should take us to her. Because we know more about what's going on than she probably does.
I can do that. Yeah, follow me. And I think that's a good place to end it for tonight.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm starting to fade a bit.
Yeah.
Is one thing I would do would be to check. Did we enter this room through a hallway or a door? Like, I want to check on like the spirit, the portal that was open to make sure it's still the same.
What? So you're in the hallway. So you entered when you came out of the portal. You were in like the main room where they receive dignitaries.
Right, right.
And you entered the hallway, and that's where the exchange took place.
Okay, so yeah, so I can kind of look back and see where the portal has changed, where I changed it to make sure it's not like turning back.
Yeah, it appears to be stable in the state
Okay,
that
and
you changed it to.
And it's pristine and awe-inspiring and harmonious, and
Yeah, it fills you.
I would grab this. Yeah, I would grab this guy and tell him to take a moment or two in here to center himself before we depart, so he's not so frazzled.
Wow.
Because it's so nice in here.
I mean, this room is usually pretty awe-inspiring, but not like this. And his gaze lingers on it. But let's go through growth really quick. Before.
Keep forgetting that it's also ED medication.
So, did you learn something challenging, exciting, or complicated about the world?
Not sure what we learned.
We learned we can tune.
I mean, right. The one person it doesn't, none of this ever matters for is Ura, and he learned something about his father.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's not how he advances.
I would say that I could argue that Sachcha at least learned that he had he learned that he could use the seeing it in action, changing frequencies to actually adjust the spirit portals. Like Ko mentioned it, but there's a difference between theory and theoretical knowledge and applied knowledge.
Right.
He learned about the scientific method.
Did you stop a dangerous threat
Yeah, I
or
mean,
solve a community? Sorry, go
I
on.
do. I agree in that rereading it, it also says something exciting about the world, and that I think that we can keep these things open and fix them so that they're not just portals for dark spirits is exciting. Like this could be an instantaneous travel from any point in the world to any other point. And all we have to do is like set up a network of portals.
The spirits will love it. That's for sure. But
Well, it
yeah,
also it breaks Tencent's monopoly on the one spirit portal in a populated area.
yep.
So his ability to prevent people from entering the spirit world, or only allowing the people he decides it's okay to let through, is probably at an end.
Exactly. It also breaks the whole because the Republic City had one and the Water Tribe had one, but now the Earth Kingdom's got one.
Got several
Several.
potentially,
Yeah.
and the North Pole one and the South Pole one. Well, those are great and all. Not that many people live in the North and South Pole to use them.
Yeah.
Impractical.
Right. So it's like a couple of people from the two water tribes could use them before, and then everyone in Republic City that Tencent allowed.
Yeah.
But now you've just got these unguarded portals that anybody can use, two of which are relatively safe for now, so far as we know. For all we know, these things cause cancer.
yeah. Well, you know what's
Yeah,
coming
they might
first.
grow. They
Syphilis.
might destabilize over time. So we like a consistent radio might have to be set up here to keep it from going bonkers.
Did you stop a dangerous threat or solve a community problem?
You tell us.
We stopped these birds from attacking that guy, and we've retuned the portal in Naopai and here.
You definitely solved a community problem with that one. So yeah, I'd say that one is that's a check for everybody. And did you guide a companion towards balance or end the session at your center? Gage tried.
I'm at my center. Right. I tried to bring balance to Sachcha, but failed. My tradition of rolling 3 and 2 continued today.
And then your playbook question.
Yeah, I did not actually attempt to seek guidance from someone else. So I don't get that one. But I do go up overall, so I get another thing.
Nice. Yeah, let me know what you're gonna take.
So I already have my playbook Moment of Balance unlocked, and I haven't used it yet. But can I take that twice and just have them both unused, or do I have to use the one I have before I unlock the second one? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that I need both at the moment anyway, but I'm not sure if there is an answer to that. So I'll probably just take a stat boost.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look it up. I can get back to you on that though. It's somewhere in this book.
It may come up because I actually think I may use my Moment of Balance maneuver when we finally meet these people from the Red Lotus.
All right.
Oh no, my password manager thinks every bubble on this character sheet is a password thing.
No password manager.
Ignore this site.
Cool.
I probably can do that since it doesn't require a password for me to log in.
Well, I'm gonna stop recording.